the stage is yours.
Thank you. Are we good? We on? Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much. I don't think I've had that nice of an intro ever, so. You know, last time I was here was fall, and we enjoyed some of the beautiful richness of the fall season. Today, it's all about spring and the beautiful spring colors and all that product that's available to us right now. So let's get started. Beautiful snowballs, right? That the viburnum. You know, you don't want those roses to be dry stored, right? So you want them cut, boxed, and shipped. So a great container, just one that we had in the store. Love those bright green colors. To prep it, all I did was simply do a small little simple grid of my tape on top of that, just to kind of help hold my flowers in place. Once I'm done, they probably won't be needed, and I can even quickly peel that off so that I won't have any of those spots showing. How would I water it? Ice cubes, right? So I would just put a couple ice cubes on the top of that and let those ice cubes melt in. Now believe me, my drivers hate me for this. Star of Bethlehem. A great flower to have in the garden. Ants love them as well. Now this is actually a yarrow. One of the strongest colors that we have in the wedding industry right now is the eggplant, right? You know, do they call it eggplant? No, they call it, you know, every single other word, right? You know, it's aubergine. Okay, it's called Crispidia globosa, kind of a fun name. And for the SAP tennis tournament, we had 60,000 Crispidia globosa in the work for SAP, because if you mass those together, it looks like a tennis ball, right? Amaranthus is supposed to fall, right? Snowballs have a floppy sense to them. If you have a boggy area, right, where maybe you're on a piece of property where you get water that kind of comes under the ground, you have little spots in the yard where it's a little bit wet, kangaroo paw would love you for it. Flip it to 4 or 8, and what ends up happening is that at the time you've moved it to 4, let's say 7 o'clock in the evening, the candle turns on and burns for 4 hours and turns off. Right on. I don't have to go through the house and turn them off again. Beautiful Gerber daisy, right, with that black center, so sharp. You know, from Portland, I hardly can stay in the car, right? Because the trees have all this chartreuse green lichen on them, and I'm just going, oh my, can't I take it home with me? So just kind of a pretty vase here. But what I did is I took a little bit of the curly willow and I just kind of crinkled it up and put it inside my vase here, right? Whenever we do a mandab, it has to be different, right? Well, how many ways am I going to make a new mandab? Right? So, you know, I love the challenges that our community present to us, you know, allowing us to simply explore design and what it has to offer, right? What do? Take a bucket of water, fill the sink up with cold water, throw a couple trays of ice in it, and literally submerge those greens in a vat of ice water. We built a green doghouse, right? And so then we did a succulent garden on top of that doghouse, but we did all the echeverias so they were in the shape of a dog bone. So, you know, no carnations, no mums, no baby's breath. But you know, to me, using the carnation in this way, very effective. So what about Campbell's chicken soup containers, right? What about small little pails of, sand pails that you might have used instead of that trio of those small little bamboo containers? What about a whole series of small, baby bottles? Star of Bethlehem, a great flower to have in the garden. Ants love them as well. Sansevieria, right, or a mother-in-law's tongue that we... That is what it's called. In a vase, a bunch of sunflowers, they can drink half that, depending on how wide it is, they can drink half that vase. Is it orange, a bright orange? Is it a blue orange? Then all of a sudden, that's where technology starts, because in the boxes the roses come in, there's almost like a little small iPod in each of those boxes. And it monitors the temperature in that box from the time the roses are packed until they get to San Francisco. So that we literally can know exactly the temperature at any point. Sweet William, also a great flower to put in the garden, right? But a Star of Bethlehem, 2 weeks, 3 weeks as a cut flower, not out of line. So when we get our hydrangeas in first, we literally give them a bath, right? So the whole hydrangea is put down in cold water for 10 minutes, something like that, right? And then once that's out, then we'll recut those hydrangeas, and you could use the powdered alum, or you could have used, there's a couple commercial products that help force that hydrangea to draw that water. I think this is awesome fun, because my father was a gardener, and would always bring in cuttings from the client's homes, right? So we get some great crabapple branches in the spring. And what is the color puce? It actually is a corally peach, and those polymers kind of help you do that because you can actually place the flowers in particular locations in that vase using the polymers as a fill. You know, flowers that are grown in South Africa, flowers that are grown in Israel, flowers that are grown in Nigeria, the royalty to that particular flower, the ownership of the rhizome or the bulb that flower is being grown in these various countries may not be owned by that grower. Important, though, that when you are using amaranthus, I generally pluck most of the leaves away, right? If I don't need that foliage, I'm going to allow that flower to use all its energy, all the nutrients in supporting the bloom and not supporting the foliage. This size of a sphere of roses will take 75 stems. I love peeps. So we learned yesterday that because of the changes in the weather, the Ecuadorian Mother's Day crop is a little early. As when we design a garden or a small patio scape or something like that, you know, the Japanese Aurelia leaves, which I used in that first piece, some aspidistra, foxtail asparagus. I pull these leaves away, but I don't throw them away. That, you know, such a great color, right? Some great liatris. Now the liatris is kind of fun because remember it opens from the top down. I mean, there's that little commercial that was on the television a little while ago with the little Clorox guy. So that's my armature, right? So I don't need to tape it. I don't need to do anything. I can just, you know, my flowers will begin to hold their positioning quite nicely and makes it a heck of a lot easier. Awesome. But I think it has some nice drama to it. Thank you. Dramatic arrangement there for you. Pretty much. Well, we sure appreciate the invitation today. I hope you learned some things. We had a lot of fun, and we'll come back.